Hello, and welcome back to the Tea and Soju C-Drama Podcast, your safe spot for C-Drama chatter. I'm your host, Liliana, and it's time to sit back, grab your tea, and let's chat Asian dramas. In today's episode, we are diving into K-Drama land, and we're going to be reviewing Love Scout with Naz. Before I hand it over to her, just some housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe on the platform you listen on. That really helps the podcast reach other listeners. For more content, check out Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes, first impressions, movie reviews, and more. Finally, if you would like to chat to me or find a community, check out Discord, Instagram, and other socials. The link is in the episode notes. So, hi Naz, welcome back. How are you
Hi,
doing?
Liliana. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this show.
Me too, me too. Uh, so before we do talk about this, if you don't know Naz, guys, just introduce yourself, Naz, a little bit.
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Naz. I'm the host of the Swoon Diaries Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Swoon Diaries Pod, and you can find the podcast on any platform you listen to podcasts.
And you just started a new season, didn't you? Because I started listening. I'm
Yes.
so excited for what you've got cooking for this season. But before we get into the episode, I like to ask guests, what have you been watching lately?
Yes. I recently started The Witch last weekend. So that's
Me
the new
too.
K-drama with Jin Young.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was very intriguing. I'm locked in so far.
Me too. Me too.
I'm yeah, so I'm really interested to see like how things go. I'm also watching He is Psychometric, which is a 2018 drama.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I really like that one too. It's like a crime drama, but it's also kind of comedic, but it's also like really emotional. So it has
It
like a lot
is.
of different, yeah, very emotional.
I
I wasn't
watched
expecting it to
it.
like hit me as hard.
I don't remember when I watched it. I think I watched it either 2019 or 2020, and I ended up really, really enjoying that one. I know people have a couple of problems with the ending, but I was like, I liked
Mm.
it. I liked the drama as a whole. And also, I really like Jin Young in that one. I think he does such a good like role. His comedic timing in that was just so good.
Yes, no, I totally agree. I'm really enjoying his performance in that one so far. So I watched that like when I have like a
Hmm.
free night. And then I also recently started Sky Castle and I watched the first episode of that. So I was like, "Ooh, this is dramatic. I love this." So
I do
we'll
love
see how
a
that
nice
one goes.
dramatic. And also, isn't it nice when life is crazy to watch? I don't know, but I find that for myself, when life is crazy, when you put on something that's crazier on TV, it kind of
Hmm.
really works.
Yes, no, I feel you. I think that's why I like dramatic shows like that because I'm like, this
Mm.
is this is like not my life, and I can just dissociate and just like, wow, look at what's going on in their life. So, yeah, I really, really like it so far. And I still need to start Mellow Movie and My Dearest Nemesis, but that's my current watch list right now.
You'll have to let me know about My Dearest Nemesis because I feel like I'm going to have a little gap for another K drama and I'm
Yeah.
considering a couple. Mellow Movie, I'm going to be finishing up. I think I've only watched about two or three episodes, but I'm going to be binging the rest of it because I'm going to be reviewing it
Okay. Oh,
soon.
yay.
I'm going to be
What do you
reviewing
think
it
about
with
it?
Jess. I
Oh,
like
yay.
it. I like it. It gives me very Our Beloved Summer kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibes. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same. Is it the same writer or the same?
Yes.
Yes, it's the
Yes,
same
one of
writer.
those. Either writer, director. Yeah.
You can see, and it's very like visually so far really well shot. So, but I've
Mm.
only, like I said, I've only watched like an episode, two episodes. So I'm very early on in the story, but so far I like it. So I'll be finishing that one up, but. My current obsession right now is a Chinese drama. And I reckon this is one that you would enjoy watching it because
Oh,
it's a
okay.
modern drama. It's not that long. I think it's going to be 28 episodes. Is it 28 or 32? It might be 32 episodes. But the story, I'm going to just throw some tropes at you, right?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a second chance romance.
Uh-huh. Love
It's
that.
a cohabitation drama, like a forced cohabitation drama.
Oh,
And It's about basically these two people. Did you hear? I don't think you've watched it. Did you hear like about Hidden Love 2 years
Yes,
ago?
I watched like 7 episodes. I still need to finish it, but yes, I
So
loved it. I just didn't finish it.
the difference with this is the same writer as Hidden Love,
Okay.
but so in that story in Hidden Love, you have like Sang-zi, which is the younger sister. This
Yeah.
is Sang Yan's story. It's the brother's story.
Oh.
It's been recasted, which at first I was really mad at, but now
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. The roles are very different for this. The
Mm-hmm.
vibes are very different for this story. Whereas you'd say like Hidden Love is daylight and sunshine and
Right.
butterflies.
Right.
The First Frost is like night and the moon and like, it's very contrasted.
Oh.
So it's about these two people. So Sang Yan, who is the kind of female lead's character from Hidden Love's
Mm-hmm.
brother,
Mm-hmm.
it's his story, and he meets somebody in high school, right? And they kind of have feelings for each other. She has a very kind of like traumatic um start in life in general. And
Mm.
in episode 1, actually, you get to see her in present day, and there's actually an attempted rape on her. Like, so it's darker. When I
Oh my
say
gosh.
it's darker, I really do mean it's darker. So
Yeah.
she's very retreated from the world. She's kind of like very quiet. But when she has to speak, she does. But she doesn't really like confrontation, and she keeps to herself and everything. But they kind of like fell in love in high school. And the way the story is told is you are with them in present day, but they kind of flash back to like scenes from them in high school that connect to the present day of them, right? And like
Wow.
at the end of every episode, there's a little epilogue, and it's like the kind of events that happened in the episode but from the male lead's perspective as opposed to it being from the
Oh.
female lead's perspective. So it is beautiful. I am like so incredibly obsessed with this drama, and
Oh my
I've only watched like
gosh.
there's only 10 episodes out right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm gonna love this one because it's just like it speaks to me on so many levels. I'm definitely going to be reviewing it. Like I already said, I'm like I already have notes. I'm gonna
Oh my
review it.
gosh. You've sold me,
So
Liliana. I'm gonna watch it because I thought that I had to watch Hidden Love before I watched it, but it doesn't sound like I
no,
have to. Okay,
no, you
and
don't.
it's not fully
You
aired
don't.
yet, so yeah, I'm gonna add it to my weekly rotation because
No,
that
you
sounds right
don't.
down my alley.
And the thing is, it's on Netflix, so it's
Mm-hmm.
really easy for you guys to access it. That if you
Great.
don't have all the like Chinese platforms or
Right.
anything, like it's on
Right.
Netflix. So and Netflix is actually
Perfect.
airing it at the same time as the Chinese platform, so it's
Oh,
super easily
perfect.
accessible to everybody. And yeah, it's definitely one of those dramas that I think will appeal to a lot more people than like Hidden Love has wide appeal,
Mm-hmm.
but it is at its core for like half of it. It's a youth drama, which not
Yeah.
a lot of people enjoy that much.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it isn't because the whole story is set like in present day, and you're following them kind of like meeting each other again and,
Mm.
falling in love again, and like her healing herself. And and also this man, I think I empathize with him very much because
Mm-hmm.
he is a acts of service kind of
Mm.
person. So
Oh.
he seems like he says like he's cold, but he'll just be like, "Oh, I cooked too much. You have some." Or he'll be like, "Oh, I bought too much food. Help me eat it," or whatever. And it's not
Oh.
like he did those things on purpose. Like he'll buy more food because he wants to have more food for her, or he'll,
Yeah.
cook more, but he doesn't want to just outright say, "Oh, I cooked more because I wanted to give you some." He'll just be like, "Just help me eat." So he's like an acts of
So
service kind
sweet.
of guy. So it's incredibly sweet. And it also, shall we bring it back to why we're here? It reminds me of the male lead from like Love Scout, but like a colder version because he
Yeah.
seems very cold, but he's not in the
Oh my
slightest.
gosh. Oh my gosh, you
It's just like
sold
his
it.
way. So if you try it, come and like squeal with me in the
No, I
in our
will. I
chat.
definitely will. I really want to watch. I want to watch it right now because like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
But
God, this
like
sounds so good.
trigger warning
Yeah.
for that first episode. Like that's what I
Yeah.
tell people. I'm like, look, it's darker in places. The female lead is kind of like a damaged character. So
Yeah.
you kind of need to go with that in mind. But I think this one will be really, really good, I think. So yeah.
Yay.
But
Thank you so
I
much
think
for
I'm
telling
just
me the
excited.
full rundown
You
of it.
should. Yeah, oh
That sounds
yes.
right down my alley.
Right. Should we get into this? Right. So we're going to be
Yes.
reviewing Love Scout, which I'm very excited about, which has like one of the greenest male leads that I have ever watched on my
Yes.
screen. I
Yes,
feel like
absolutely.
Oh, top notch. Right. I am just going to go through the MDL synopsis for this. A successful and confident woman, Kang Ji Yoon, is the CEO of a headhunting company. To survive in the fiercely competitive headhunting field, she puts everything she has into her work. Outside of her job, she doesn't know how to do anything. She has a secretary named Yu Un Ho who takes care of pretty much everything for her. Unlike his boss, the secretary is friendly, well mannered, and considerate of other people. He is a single father who is also good at parenting and housework. I mean, I will say, when I first read that synopsis without going into the show, I was like, oh my God, they're really selling this male lead. Like, he
Yeah.
sounds perfect. But then
Yeah.
you go into the show and you're like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Yep. I totally get it.
I totally get it. And the thing is, this is the ultimate, like, grumpy sunshine, like,
Yes.
trope, but
Yeah.
reversed.
But
And I was
reverse.
like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so here for this because it doesn't happen that often now. Like, we
No.
don't see it that often. So I feel like
Mm-mm.
reversing it gives it a really fresh take.
Yes. Gives it new
Um,
life.
Exactly. So this is 12 episodes and it aired from January 3rd to February 14th. It aired, so it was a Friday, Saturday show, which Naz and I were saying our weekends feel a little bit empty now that this show
Yes.
has gone. Um, it is a CBS drama, but it aired on Viki internationally. And can I just say, praise be, the episodes really were an hour 10 or
They
less
were. They
throughout.
were.
And I
We
was
didn't get
like,
any hour and a halfs in there.
I'm like, oh my God, see, it can be done. It
It
can
can't
be
be
done.
done. And in 12 episodes at that, you could tell a
And at
complete
12
story.
episodes, and at 12 episodes, it can be done. Um, so the director for this is Ham Jun Hoo, and he's directed obviously Love Scout, My Strangest Hero from 2018, and Walk of Love from 2018. Have you watched any of those other two,
No, but they're
Naz?
actually both on my list, especially Walk of Love.
I've
I've
watched
heard
Walk
it's
of Love.
terrible, but like I it's Junho and like I don't mind a campy drama every now and again, but like I've heard it's so bad, but I want to watch it.
You just have to be in the right mood for it and go in
Yes.
thinking, this is not a masterpiece, but it'll be fine. Whatever it is, it'll be type of
Yes.
situation.
Have you watched them?
So, no, I haven't watched My Stranger Hero, but I have watched Walk of Love, and yeah, it's a 2018 drama through and like it feels like a 2018 drama. So yeah. Um, So the screenwriter is Kim Ji-eun, and they've done Love Scout, Wonderful World from 2024, Lie After Life from 2020, Enemies from the Past from 2017, Innocent You from 2008, and Let's Get Married from 2005. I don't think I've watched anything from this screenwriter.
No, me neither. The only one I've heard of is Wonderful World, which I haven't, it's on my list. I just haven't watched it yet. But
That's the
yeah.
one with Cha Eun-woo from last year, isn't it?
Yes.
I think
It's
so.
that one.
I heard, yeah, I did hear about it, but I didn't watch it, but I did
Yeah.
hear about that one. So, for the lead actress, we have Han Ji-min, who is a prolific actress. I mean, this woman has been acting for
Yes.
a hot minute, and she's been in a lot.
Yes.
So I just picked like a few of her dramas because otherwise I'd be here like listing her
I
dramas. So
know, just a
she has
handful.
been just a handful. Behind Your Touch from 2023, Our Blues from 2022, One Spring Night from 2019, The Light in Your Eyes from 2019, Familiar Wife from 2018, Hyde, Jekyll and Me from 2015, Rooftop Prince from 2012, Padam Padam from 2011, Cain and Abel from 2009, and Resurrection from 2005. Now, where I really got to know her was One Spring Night, which I
Yes.
loved. I really, really enjoyed. I
Yes.
know One Spring Night divides people.
Yeah, and I don't know why. It baffles me. That was my first time I saw Han Ji Min and too, and she
Hmm.
became one of my favorite actresses just from that drama
Yeah.
alone. But yeah, I love One Spring Night. I think about it like fondly. I
Mm.
love that drama so much.
Actually, thinking about it, like that show also has a single dad in it.
Yes, yes. And I had that thought when I started Love Scout because I was like, oh my gosh, she's with a single dad again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But her characters are very different, I would say. Very, very
Absolutely.
different from both dramas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and I also watched her in Familiar Wife from this list. So yeah.
I need to
What
watch
have you
that one.
watched from this list, Naz?
I've watched Our Blues, which was
Mhm.
fantastic. That's one of my favorite dramas of all time. Her performance was amazing. And Behind Your Touch as well, which was hilarious. Behind Your
I've
Touch
heard a
was
lot of.
so
Is
great.
that the one? Is that the one where they touch each other to get, so, like to get? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
she has to touch like she has like in some sort of weird accident and like so when she touches people's butts, she can see like what they've done in their past. It's so
Lovely.
silly, but the it's so funny, but the mystery and the thrill aspect of it is really, really good. They did a really great job
Okay.
with it, but it was
Okay.
so funny.
Maybe I'll have to get to that one. Well, to be fair, it's not as bad as the chicken nugget drama. I'm just saying. I've seen worse concepts in K-drama land. So we do have that to keep in
Oh
mind.
my God. It's funny. But yeah, like pretty
So
much everything on this list, like I want to
mm,
watch.
she's
So
a
yeah.
really good actress. She's a really good actress. And the thing is, I feel like she picks fairly good shows as well.
Absolutely. Which
So
is why like when I hear she's coming off the show, like there's like no question I'm gonna watch it because I
mm,
think
mm,
she picks very well.
yeah. So, for the lead actor, we have Hyuk, and he's been in Vigilante from 2023, Secret Royal Inspector Joy from 2021, Dark Hole from 2021, Forest of Secrets from 2020, 365 Repeat the Year from 2020, Designated Survivor 60 Days from 2019, Are You Human 2 2018, Forest of Secrets 2017, I Am Legend 2010, and First Wives Club from 27. That is just like some of his dramas because he also has a very extensive filmography to his name.
Yes.
The thing is, I feel like this actor tends to do a lot more like actiony dramas
Yes.
rather than
Yes.
like
Darker
so
concepts.
yeah, so it was fun to see him because I think where had I seen him before? Oh, I think I saw him in like 365 Repeat the Year before.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was kind of fun to see him in like this type of role, because it's very different to what what he normally goes for. So
Yeah.
what have you seen him in, Naz?
Literally just Love Scout. It was the first time I
Really?
saw him and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. Like I need to
Mm.
watch his other shows.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, he's really good. Like I said, he has quite good range because he does,
Mhm.
various different things. So yeah, I really like him as an actor as well. So that's like our main cast, but then we have Kim Do-hoon who plays Woo Jong-hoon, and I think Kim Yeon-hae who plays Jung So-hyun. So that's like your secondary couple, I would say.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's I quite liked both of those actors. I in this specific, I don't think I had seen them in anything else really beforehand. So that was interesting to see him. Like for this actor for Kim Do Hoon, he's actually been in he was in My Sweet Mobster, but it was only like a very, very guest role in episode
Guest
15 as
role.
himself. So yeah, the Law Cafe, he was in the Law Cafe. Oh, he was in Moving. Oh my God, how did I not know this? He was in Moving. He played Ging Hoon, the main role in. Oh my gosh, yes, he did. That just blanket me. He plays one of the main roles, one of the kids in Moving.
Oh, wow. So you have seen him.
I have seen him. I have seen him. Did not realize I had seen him. See, this is always what happens.
You're
You
like, I do know
forget.
you.
I do know your face from somewhere. And for this actress, watch me like maybe having seen her in stuff as well. Let me see what she's been in. So she's been in. Oh, she was in Shooting Stars, which I did watch, and she was the main role in that. Oh, so I have watched her before. I just didn't remember. I didn't think,
I
oh,
think,
she's like not the main role in that. She's like a secondary role. See, they always say like main role, but it's like they're not the main pairing, they're like the
right,
secondary pairing. So I
right.
feel like I always get, confused. She was also in Vincenzo.
Yes, I remember her
Um,
from Vincenzo.
yeah, 18 again. She was in My Sassy Girl. Um, so yeah, she's been in a couple of things as well. So I think the cast was really good in
Yeah, I
general. I
agree.
liked this cast. So let's just do a non-spoiler thoughts first. Just a quick, you know, did we enjoy it? I think we've already answered that. But like, did we enjoy it? Would we recommend this? And if there's like anything we didn't enjoy that we can speak about without spoilers, we can talk about it here. For me, like I said, this was very much like a comfort watch. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it was so nice to tune in every week and check in on the characters. I love those
Yes.
types of shows. They're the type of shows that you can watch and, even though your life is really stressful, you can sort of like tune into them and have a little break for, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. So I really loved it. I loved this romance. Like, I loved this romance because
Yes.
it's such a beautiful journey. There was things that I think were going to happen that didn't, and I was so incredibly happy that that was the case. And I'll
Yeah.
definitely mention that in the spoiler sections, but it didn't necessarily go the way that I was anticipating, and that was a really good thing. I love the fact that we get to see Kang Ji-eun's growth journey and how she comes out of her shelf and how she learns to what's the word I'm looking for? How she learns to accept help because at the beginning you don't really have her know what accepting any type of help from anybody is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, I love this male lead. I think he's such a well-written character because I
Absolutely.
feel like this type of male lead is the type of male lead that you look at him, right? And you're like, he must be written by a woman because I feel
Yes.
like he's written by a woman for
Yeah.
women. Like the
Yeah.
man can cook and the man
Yes.
and
He does
he's
it
a
all.
natural he does and he's a natural caregiver. I will say one of the things that I really really appreciate about this drama is that both these characters are very competent at their jobs. Like
Mm-hmm.
our female lead's not very competent at lifing in general.
Yeah.
Like she can barely take care of herself,
Yeah.
but she's very competent at her job, and
Yes.
so is our male lead. Like, I loved it. Loved the characters, loved the writing. And even like when we are talking about some of like the head hunting cases that they have
Mm-hmm.
to do, I thought they
Mm-hmm.
were really well done because I thought, oh my God, this is going to be like a business kind of drama. And although
Right.
it's set in the business world, I don't think the focus on the business is there sometimes, but when it's there, it's kind of like because of the type of job they do, it's more focused on the people
The people.
aspect of
Yes,
jobs.
exactly.
So I
Yeah.
love that aspect. I highly recommend this. I think a lot of people, especially if you're a romance lover, I think you'll really enjoy this type of show.
Absolutely.
Um, if you just dabble into romance every now and again, then, you know. But if you're a romance enjoyer, highly, highly recommend. Highly recommend. Naz, what did you think like about this show in general?
Yeah, just to echo what you said, I absolutely loved it. It was like my little safe place on the weekends. I would usually save the episodes for Sunday so I could watch them together.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would even stall and like not watch it for like another few days after that because I didn't want to be without episodes. Like that's how
Yeah.
much I loved it.
To
It
make
was
it
just
last longer.
yes, and I loved it so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the romance was just so sweet, and I just really enjoyed the role reversal. We usually have like the cold CEO and
Mhm.
like, like kind of like the helpless female lead, and like, but it was completely reversed, but none of them were helpless, like you said. Like they were both very competent, very successful, very intelligent, but like her being like the cold one and needing her walls broken down versus him
Mhm.
being the one like that kind of like brought joy and like sunlight into her life and just like honestly took care of her like she needed someone to like really just like show
Mhm.
her love and like show intentionality towards her and like
Mhm.
really see her like he really like saw what she needed whether it be practically or emotionally and was just that for her, that
Mhm.
presence of just security, and I just thought it was just beautiful. I just loved them so much. And I think things I didn't enjoy as much, I mean, I honestly loved everything about this show. I think
Me
the
too.
one nitpick would be like I think like with the different like the headhunting aspect of the show,
Mhm.
I'm used to shows like this like that have kind of like an episodic nature, like there's like a new
Mhm.
client every episode. I'm used to like being just as invested in those stories as like
Mhm.
the couple, and I felt like those stories weren't as like compelling.
Yeah.
There was one story that really touched me, but like the other ones was just like, all right, this is just like another day's
Yeah.
work. So I just wanted them to be
Mhm.
a little bit more impactful. But no, I
Mhm.
would 1000% recommend the show. I think it's perfect. Like if you are, like you
Mm.
said, if you're a romance lover, like you will love this because it gives
Yes.
you all the things, all the K-drama crack that we love, like
Mhm.
everything and more. It's just so
Yeah.
good.
And it has like a really good found family aspect, a
Oh,
really, really good
yes.
found family. And the other thing that I have to mention, here in this like non-spoiler section is the fact that I loved the addition of like Biol. So,
Oh
our
my
male
gosh.
lead's
Yes.
daughter. The fact that she's not just mentioned, she's an active participant,
Yes.
and they talk about things with her. And she is actually a lot of my favorite characters and I mean, not characters, a lot of my favorite scenes and interactions are between like our female lead and Bjol. And they're like,
Absolutely.
I loved the way they built their relationship. I thought it was done so seamlessly. So I really liked how like active that part in the show was, rather than it being mentioned and then like her being in a couple of scenes. No, she truly
Yeah.
was like an active part of their story, which I really
Yes.
appreciate because being a single father is very much a part of his story. And
Mm-hmm.
he loves the heck out of his child. And it would be
Yes.
really odd for that to not come across as much in the show. So I think they did it beautifully in that aspect as well. So I
Absolutely.
so happy, so thrilled about that. So let's rate this so then we can get into spoilers because I feel like we have lots to talk about. So ratings goes as one teacup. It was something I watched. It wasn't good, but something made me finish, and that's a 1 to a 5.5 on MDL. Two teacups are the okay ones. Dramas I don't really recommend, but they're an okay background watch, and those are a 6 to a 7 on MDL. Three teacups, the enjoyable ones, good dramas. They were enjoyable, and I would recommend to people who enjoy this genre. And so that's a 7.5 to an 8 on MDL. And then four teacups, the loved ones. These are dramas that I really loved. There might be a couple of problems with it, but overall, I really enjoyed enjoyable drama that I would recommend to a wider audience. And that's like 8.5 to 9.5 on MDL. And then you have like your five teacups. These are the rose glass, no faults kind of dramas. So this rating is reserved for those dramas that you love so much that you're willing to ignore any problems you may have with them. And that's like
Yeah.
your tens on MDLs. Naz, what would you rate this drama?
Without a doubt, five teacups. There's no flaws for me. I thought it was
Yeah,
perfect. It gave me everything I needed. I love the couple. I love the found family, like you said. Biol, like I just loved how the show was written and constructed, and I just thought it was genius. I loved everything
yeah.
about it. No, I have no problems, no
Yeah, no
notes.
problems. See, for me, I think I would also rate it like either a 4.5 or a 5. And my
Yeah,
reasoning being is this show is not groundbreaking, right? They're not
right,
doing
right.
anything new. But the thing is, it's so comforting. So I feel like
Yes,
a lot of the feelings that I felt while watching it are going to overtake my logical brain aspect of like realistically reviewing something. And that
yeah,
doesn't always happen, but when it does happen, that's the kind of shows that stick with you, right? Where
yes,
you remember them through emotions that you felt and you get attached to these characters. And I
absolutely.
feel like these dramas work for me. Like they're dramas like Go Ahead and Meet Yourself, where not a lot happens, but these dramas just feel like such comfort watches and they just hit you at the right time.
Yes,
So whether they would be that rating for everybody else, I don't know. But like because to me it hit me at exactly the right time for it, it works. So, like I was saying before, January was a very stressful month for me, and
yeah,
this show was wonderful. Like, it was like a little piece of heaven to sit down and
yes.
watch. So, I feel like the circumstances you watch something in also really affects like how you feel about it. And to me, that's what I feel about it. Like, I loved it. It's just so, so nice. I just loved it. Loved it.
No, absolutely. And I think like another thing that made this show just like stand out, because like you said, like it's not like this is like standard, K-drama romance. But like I think I knew that it was gonna be good because it's Han Ji-min and like I don't think
Hmm.
I've seen a
Hmm.
drama that of hers that's not good. But like I didn't expect it to be like as good as it was. So I think that's what
Hmm.
added to like the excitement and like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But yeah, like the timing is everything too.
I also think like this one is one of those that does not suffer from. I mean, 2024 was bountiful in terms of dramas that was so overhyped that then
Yes.
when we went in, we were like, oh my God, like what is
Like,
even
what is
like
this?
what is this? So this drama falls perfectly for me anyways into that category where there really wasn't that much hype about this
Yeah.
drama
Yeah.
beforehand. So I had very, very low expectations. So then when I went in, I was like, "Oh my God, this is great." Because like
Yes.
I was not expecting it to be a masterpiece or anything. I didn't have like those sky high expectations. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's the lesson I'm trying to keep for 2025 is to like manage expectations because I feel like
Yes.
those can make or break a drama a little bit as well. Um
No, you're so right about 2024. It was just like all these highly anticipated shows and like you watch it and you're like, what happened here? Like what's
yeah,
going
yeah,
on?
yeah. I feel like 2024 is going to be like the blip on the map if that makes sense.
No,
It's
seriously,
gonna,
like what happened? What happened there? It's like that
we
wasn't a
don't
good
talk
year.
about it.
We don't talk about 2024.
We don't talk about 2024 in drama land, okay? We quickly and smoothly cross into 2025. I feel like that's what it's going to be known as. I feel
Yes. Yes.
2025 is already off to a much better start.
Yes.
Let me just put it
Yes.
that way. Whether it
Yes.
be K drama land or C drama land, I feel like both of them are already giving much more than 2024 was.
Absolutely.
So
Strong start.
I very happy about that. So this is your spoiler warning. We are absolutely going to spoil the heck out of this show. So if you haven't watched it and would like to keep spoiler free, then go watch and then come back and listen to the rest of this episode. If not, if you don't mind spoilers or if you've finished the show, then go on ahead. We will absolutely be spoiling this. So I feel like it's only right to start talk, but this spoiler section by talking about Kang Ji-yoon because I feel like
Yes.
I'm obsessed with her character in general.
Yes.
Um, I feel like her growth is so incredibly well done. Um, from the very start, so we see that she's very closed off, but she's not
Hmm.
completely closed off because she gets on very well with her, like, is it? Oh, I've forgotten her name. The character that runs
Her
her
husband owns a bookstore.
finances.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one that runs like her finances for her,
Yeah.
that works with her, um, in in the shop, not in the shop, in
Hmm.
her
In
company.
the other company.
So yeah, so you can see she's obviously not completely closed off from everybody. She does have friends. She's just
Yes.
very reliant on herself and nobody else really. And
Hmm.
I feel like that's the perfect spot for her to start, and you definitely see that throughout the first couple of episodes. But I really really liked where we start with her character. um it's very clear that she's gonna grow, and the fact
Yeah.
of the matter is, when they first meet and he's just like hating on her job and you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be, how is this gonna work? Because he has the complete wrong idea about her
Yeah.
job, and she is not like that at all. So you can see why she wouldn't want him working for her. Like, you
Hmm.
understand her choice of being like, no, I don't want him here. I don't want him in my space. So I
Right.
feel like it's a very realistic start to them, as characters. What did you think about her character and as?
Yeah, I really enjoyed her character development. Like you said, like she starts off as cold. She's not completely like closed off. She does have people that she talks to and confides in, but she's pretty cold. She's pretty like, rigid and like this is what I do. Like
Mhm,
work is work. Like I'm not really into like the small talk and all these things. It's like she's very serious when it comes to her work. Um but you know that there's something there. You just don't know like
mhm,
what it is yet. And like as the show goes on, you figure out like why she is the way that she is. And she has some trauma and some brokenness there. And she's not like a mean person, but she just has trouble reconciling all these things. And
mhm,
but it was really like just great to see her like soften and like fully allow someone to like care for her like
mhm,
emotionally, and someone that will just always be there for her. Like it was just really nice for her to like be like, I could accept like help, I could accept support, I don't have to
mhm,
do everything by myself. And like her realizing that like her wanting the support and companionship with someone else doesn't make her like weak, like like she
mhm.
actually wanted that, and like that soul realization she had, it was really nice to see.
And to me, also, it's the fact that um, you don't see her character change overnight. That I
Right.
really enjoy. It's a slow, gradual thing
Mm-hmm.
throughout the show, and it
Mm-hmm.
comes through in things such as her going to like their company's dinner, or her
Yes.
remembering her company, like her staff's correct name. Like,
Yes.
it's small things like that that kind of help her character growth in the right direction. Um,
Exactly.
I, like I said, I really like that she's so incredibly capable at her job.
Yeah.
Um, so let's just touch on like her trauma because I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it felt like it was enough for her to be closed off from people because every time she's gotten close to somebody, that person would kind of like be taken away from her. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's a realistic thing that you become that kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't want anybody close to you because it's too painful
Right.
to to have that. So what did you think about like how that trauma was kind of like put into the show?
I thought they handled it really well, especially because uh for a while we don't even clearly know like what happened. We just see flashes of fire, and then we
Mm-hmm.
just hear her screaming for her dad, and then we start getting clips of like her and her dad finally parting ways and him running into the building and her saying no, 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 don't leave me. And so like we
Mm-hmm.
slowly see the pieces of the story come together, and you're like, oh my goodness, that is why she's so tortured. That's why she can't sleep. That's why she feels like she doesn't want to get close to people because they're going to leave her, and they're, because she
Mm-hmm.
saw what her dad did, and in her childhood eyes, as like betrayal. Like, my dad left me. He just left me here by
Mm-hmm.
myself when I needed him. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can see. But I think the way they revealed it in the show was brilliant. It was so good. And also sometimes a lot of this like trauma that they reveal about a person's past in a K drama, it can just feel very like it can feel kind of repetitive. It can feel kind of lazy, but they did
Mm-hmm.
such a great job with it in this show.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I will say straight away, that was one of the things that I think I was thinking was going to go in one direction and it didn't. So we
Hmm.
then find out that the person that her dad died trying to save was obviously our male lead. So it
Yeah.
was Yoon Ho. And
Yeah.
me being me, was thinking this is going to break them up. This is going to be your classic 2 episode before the end. It's going to be revealed and they're
Yeah.
going to break up, but
Yeah.
it didn't. And I was like, oh my goodness, it didn't. And I loved that they gave the story its time to flourish. Like,
Yes.
he went straight to her. He found
Mm-hmm.
out that it was him.
Mm-hmm.
He took the time. Like, he didn't go straight to her, but he took the time to figure it out himself. And I
Yes.
loved we can talk about that scene now because I loved the aspect that she's screaming at him, like, why did you tell me? You could have just, like, let me believe that it had nothing to do with you. But that's
Yeah.
not the kind of character that Yunho is. Like, he would
Yes.
never feel okay knowing how much this hurts her that, he wouldn't tell her. And I
Yeah.
think this is where Kang Ji-eun's character growth is shown
Mm-hmm.
the absolute most because she could have, be thrown back into the place where I don't want nothing to do with you.
Right.
And he like he walks away from the situation. And a lot of people may think he's giving up. He's not. He's
Mm-mm.
giving her time to
Yeah.
like process. And it's exactly what she needs. Like, she
Yes.
needs that time to process the situation. And it's just like it just shows how much of a people person he is and how well he knows her, that he
Mm-hmm.
knows she needs that time to process. So she does.
Mm-hmm.
She takes the time, she processes it, and then that's when her healing truly starts. Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's when she's like, I'm okay now. I can let it go because I love him. And it's very K-drama-y that, her dad saved her future lover, but
Yeah.
it's very K-drama-y, but it really does work in this situation. So I will say that scene where he reveals to her that it's her that like he's the person her dad saved is
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. It's so
Yeah.
well acted.
Yeah.
They're both in very dark clothes. It's kind of like dark. It's
Yes.
so well done. The
Yeah.
dialogue is really good in that scene, and I
Yes.
really really liked it. So,
Yeah, I 1000% agree. It's I really love the way the show handled this because
hmm
I think the childhood connection thing is so overdone, and like now I'm at the point now since I watched so many K-dramas, I it's eye roll like like
yeah.
it's like oh my gosh, like of course there's something happened.
Mm.
So like it's like I'm like it's this is so lazy, like why are we still doing this? But they did such a good job with it in this show. And like you said, he took time to like process it on his own, and he like paid respects to her father because this is something that he's been
Mm.
on a journey trying to figure out as well. And so he's like, I could finally say thank you to this man that saved my
hmm
life, and like without him I wouldn't have like met the love of my life, and like just like paying his respects. And the scene when he told her again, like oh my gosh, it was just I was like in tears. Like I just
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was he told her and she was like I can't right now. I need a minute. Like and she asked him to
mm,
leave. And because he knows her so well, he didn't leave and she comes back
yeah.
out like a few minutes later and it's like why did it have to be you? I resented my dad so much. And how can I be with you? And she was just like weeping and I was just like I can't do this.
And
Like uh
she's like on the floor because she falls to the
yes.
floor, and he's like almost reaching to her, but he knows
Yes.
she will not take his comfort right there.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah,
knows it needs to be her coming to him in this situation. And I'm just like,
exactly.
these two just under like he just understands her on such a deep
Deep
level.
level.
It's like it's what like soul connections are made of, I feel like.
Yes,
It's like two
yes.
people that truly, truly understand each other on like such a deep level. And the thing is, like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it would be a wild coincidence for this to happen in real life,
Yeah,
but like the way they handle it is something that could happen in real life,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So that scene, it just that scene killed
It
me.
it killed
That
me
like
too.
I but it's so well done and it's so
Yes.
necessary for the drama. I'm
Yeah.
glad it wasn't like I said, it wasn't a breakup
Mm-hmm.
reason. It wasn't used as a scene that would like I don't know how to even explain it, that would I don't know, break them up, that would
Yeah.
throw them into different paths, that would,
Right.
so many things that they usually use these kind of plot lines for. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. It was just like a stepping stone for her to heal. And I'm like, I
Yes.
loved it. I loved it. So
No,
I
I 1000% agree. I liked how like they again like you said they didn't use that as a breakup. It was like a catalyst for her own journey. So like after he said he left her a note and he was just like I'll give you some time to process everything and she went to go see her dad herself and like she had her own kind of like journey and she was like hating
Mhm.
you was my only way to survive and she was like I'm sorry and I was like oh is
Oh,
this
yeah.
and I was just so proud of her in that moment because if like who knows like when she would have been able to get to that place of like forgiving her father if she
Mhm.
never found out about Unho and like then for it to not break them up but for this to be the moment that she like openly like holds his hand
Yeah.
in the office and like reveals their relationship to
Yeah.
everybody which was so funny but like it was like it's so instead of like breaking them apart it like brought them together and like made them
Mhm.
even stronger and
Yeah.
I just loved that I was like we don't need an unnecessary breakup in episode 9
No, 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 no,
let's
no.
not do
And the
this
thing, and also, I feel like that was that was her biggest like character growth, right? To me.
yes.
But also a couple of episodes later, when she does lose her company, she's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with this. Like, I'm
Yes.
okay with this. Like, because she is like, I can do it again. I can start it again. I can,
Mm-hmm.
she is in such a healthier, mentally healthier place that
Yes.
I feel like the company, she was holding on so strongly to this company because she had nothing else to hold on to,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
by the end, she's all like, I'm okay to let it go. Like I have other things in my life that I can hold on to. So
Yeah.
I loved it so much,
Oh,
so
it was
much.
amazing. They handled it just so well. I was like, writers, bravo, because oh,
Bravo.
they did such
Yes.
a great job.
Yes.
Such a great job.
Yeah. But that was the thing that I was like most expecting to blow up in each other's faces.
Yes.
Or even like even that, or even like somebody else finds out about it and tells her and she feels betrayed.
Right.
Because that's like
Right.
that's so K-drama coded. Like those things are things
Yes.
that happen so often. And I was like, oh, he's telling herself, oh, that like they're actually talking about
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. And he didn't wait 4 episodes to tell her. Okay, great.
No,
Like
it
it's just
literally like happened. He
uh
found out, he took the time to process. The first person he went to was her, and he's like, this is what's happening. And it's like
yes.
he could have taken the easy way out and not tell her. So, but since we're already on this topic, let's move on to Yoon Ho because
Yes.
goodness, this man is not a green flag. He's a freaking green forest at this point. He's a whole damn forest. Like the way he like from I think from episode one, we knew
Yeah.
what we were getting into when
Yeah, for
he
sure.
gave up his career to take care of his daughter. Like
Yes.
they're like, your daughter needs you. And he was like, where? When? What do I do? And it's like,
Yep.
this is the type of man that
Yes.
any woman would want. Like,
The
this is the type
standard.
of man that any woman would want to grow a family with. Because it's
Yeah.
like the way he's going to be there for his kids is the same way that he's going to show up for his wife, for his friends, for, and I'm just like, how do you do it? Like, how do you do it?
I don't know.
I
I don't
will
know.
say, I will say that this is one of the nitpicks, but I think it's like it speaks more to society as a general
Yeah.
rather than just the show. It's the
Mm-hmm.
fact that everybody is so impressed by him being successful in his career and having a kid and all of this. Like, and I'm just like, women do that all the time. Like, women
Exactly.
do this all the time. And actually, they do touch on this. I think it's like episode 8 with the
Mm-hmm.
mother who's a lawyer and she's
Mm-hmm.
a single mother. And she's like,
Yeah.
I'm either going to have to give up my career or give up my son. And, I choose my son over my career.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, that's the only like nitpick that I would have is like everybody's so fascinated by him like being a single dad. But it's just like I feel like even that is kind of like a slight at the world in general because
Yeah.
people are often so fascinated by how is he such a good dad and such a career man, and it's like, well, women do it all the time. It's
Yeah. Yeah, it can be
you
done.
figure it out. It can be done. You
Yeah.
figure it out. um but again, the way he's so organized, I want to be that organized. Like
Seriously.
dude, teach me your ways because I want to be that organized. I am nowhere near that. I feel like for him, character growth wasn't necessarily needed in a
Mm-mm.
sense
Yeah.
because he was already like fairly mentally stable, let's put it that
Mm-hmm.
way. He was,
Mm-hmm.
his life was going well. I think like where his that was one of the things that I really appreciate about his character actually, and it happens fairly early on. First of all, he realizes that her job isn't what he thought it was, right?
Yeah.
And he admits that to her. He's like, I'm really sorry that I thought and said these horrible things about your kind of job. I now understand that that's not the case. And I'm like,
Right.
what is happened? Like from this is like episode 2 or something. I'm like, he's apologizing. Like he understands he made a mistake.
Yep.
He's apologizing.
Yep.
So I just think he's such a well-rounded written guy, and character in general. He's a wonderful father. He becomes a
Yes.
wonderful man in her life. Like it's the little things. It's not even the big things. It's the fact that he puts his hand on the desk so she doesn't bump her
Yes.
head.
Yes. That scene,
It's the
it killed me. It killed me.
it's
I was like, I
such
can't. I can't.
But the thing is, right, in the grand scheme of things, it is the tiniest of
Yeah.
things.
But he
But
was the
it's like,
best at looking at like finding the tiniest things to do.
exactly, exactly. The way he like almost child proofs her office.
Yes, yes, but literally, literally.
It's like he looks at it and he's like, what's going to make her life easier? And I
Hmm.
think, is the kind of guy who is very actively like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a very active attentive person. So he
Yes, very
pays
attentive.
attention, right?
Yeah.
And not just to her, he pays attention to everybody. He's a very likable person. Like
Yes.
if this guy worked with me or if this guy was somebody who, I knew in my real life, I'd be like, he's a really nice guy. He's your
Yeah.
typical nice guy,
Yes.
who's very attentive. And I loved his character. I did. What did you think about his character?
Yeah, honestly, he was perfect. Like he didn't have a single flaw. And it was like, wow, literally, like he doesn't have any flaws. But he's so kind. He was so patient. He cooked. He was intentional. He was protective. Like I love the way that he protected Ji-yoon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's so intelligent. He was an amazing dad. He's so honorable. Had so much integrity. And I think like his journey was like realizing that he could love again. Like he had completely
Mm-hmm.
given up on the prospect of like finding love again. He's just like, I don't, that's fine if I never have that again. Viola is my life. Taking care of her is, like she's all I have kind of thing. And like for him realizing that like, oh, like I can love again. Like I am able to
Mm-hmm.
love again, which was like beautiful to see like how he realized that. But oh my gosh, I just love the way he took care of Ji-yoon. Like even before they were romantic, just like you said, the hand on the table edge so she wouldn't hit her head, putting like the little soft things on the corner so she wouldn't get
Mm-hmm.
hurt,
The
organizing her whole
door,
office, the
the
doors, like
door.
leaving like fresh flowers in her office every day. Like it was just the little things. And I'm just he would
Yeah.
do anything he could to like make her life easier. He like literally
Mm-hmm.
noticed everything that she needed and he was just like, I'm gonna make sure that she has all this so to make her
Yeah.
job or her life easier. Oh my gosh, just
And the thing is,
the
like,
best.
I think sometimes, and like, I'm not speaking for the whole of womankind. I'm really not.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm really not. But when women say the little things count, the little things
Hmm.
really count because the little
Yes.
things, like your everyday little things, add up to your whole relationship, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're so important. And it's great and refreshing to see that in a K drama because I think often dramas are like about these big sweeping gestures.
Yeah.
And like that's great to see, but like for me personally, I don't know about other people, but like for me personally, that's not really realistic. And yes, we don't watch dramas for them to be realistic, but
Yeah.
when sometimes one comes along and it is, I'm like, sign me up. I love watching this because it speaks to me. First of all, I already said this, but I'm very much a acts of service. Like that's my love language. I'm like, oh, this made me think of you, so I got it for you. Or, this, I don't know, I cook for you, or, I cooked you a dinner, or that type of thing. I am very much an acts of service kind of person. So
Yeah.
that is a love language that I think sometimes is a little bit misunderstood because like people who have that as a love language, they don't necessarily say I love you every day or they don't,
Hmm.
and Yoonho is not that type of person. He does tell her things when there's the need to and she's the same. Like
Yeah.
they're not gonna be telling I love you every single day. But it's like it's in the little things that show and
Yes.
nourish that love. It's in the I bought you food because I saw that you didn't
Yes.
eat today. Or,
Yes.
it's in the how are you feeling today? How I think it's like in those little moments that a relationship is built. So that's
Absolutely.
why I think this is why this hit with me so much, no, even much more because I empathized with like the characters so much. So yeah, I loved it. I just loved him. I just loved him.
He's
So
perfect.
he really is. He really is. I think that's what people will pick on. Like he's
Yeah,
too
people pick on that. He's
perfect.
like too perfect. I'm like, it's a
But the thing
show.
is,
It's fine.
it's a show. It's fine. And the thing is, she will pick up on things that he's not perfect at. Like she
Yeah.
will, because that's what comes with like a long lasting relationship. You end up
Hmm.
picking up on things that are like, oh my God, you're terrible at that. Like,
Yeah.
at first, which is like what we saw of their relationship, right? We saw like the honeymoon period of their
Yes.
relationship, right?
Yes.
And in the honeymoon relationship part, everything's perfect. Like everything's
Hmm.
perfect.
Like
Like
no
there's
one has
one
any
thing, for
flaws.
example.
Yep.
Exactly. But then once you start like I think when a relationship is tested when you really live together for the first time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's like when things will prop up. Like oh, you don't wash your dishes straight away, or you leave your dishes for the next day. That's the kind of thing that is gonna prop up, which we're not
Yeah.
gonna see because that's like way beyond the
Right.
scope of
Right.
the drama, right?
Right.
But also, for example, when she was at that gala, for example, and the everybody was kind of like ganging up on her, and he stepped in, right? And
Yes.
she was like, why did you step in? Like I had that under control. So for
Mm-hmm.
her, that might be a possible like flaw in its sense, because she's
Right.
like, I want to handle that myself, because
Yeah.
she's used to that, right? So
Right.
I don't know. I loved his character. Yes, he's
Me
perfect.
too.
It's a drama. Get over it. Like, it's fine.
It's
We're probably
fine.
ain't nobody going to be finding a Yunho out there, right? Because humans are not that perfect. It's fine.
Exactly.
We can watch them on our screen. Yeah. I just
He's
don't think
great.
it's. He is. So let's just talk about who's your favorite. If you had to pick one favorite secondary character, who would it be?
Oh, I have only one? I
Yeah.
probably would say Biol.
Yeah, me too. I love
Yeah.
that kid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she was like the cutest and she was so emotionally intelligent and she loved her
Mm,
dad so much and she just wanted him to be happy. I the scene when he told her like, "Yo, like, how would you feel if I told you I liked someone?" And she said, "I would like it. I want you to smile a lot." And I was like,
I
this
love it.
sweet
I
little
love it.
little pumpkin is so sweet.
But realistically speaking, right? Viola's like that because her father's very much like that. I think she's a mini
Yes,
clone of her dad.
absolutely. Yeah.
And he's instilled this confidence in her and all of this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful intelligence in her. And
Mm-hmm.
it's wonderful to see. And actually, one of my favorite scenes is not between it's between Biol and Kang Ji-eun. And I think I'm
Yes.
just gonna look it up because I think it's like further down. Oh, it's like episode 6. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're together, Byul and Kang Ji-eun, and Kang Ji-eun, and she's a bit upset because I think somebody was picking on her in kindergarten, saying, "Oh, you only have a dad and whatnot." And
Yeah.
her little friend actually beat the guy, little
Oh my
dude
gosh,
up.
Sojun was so cute.
He's so adorable, right? And you can see these two being best friends for the rest of their lives. Like
Absolutely.
these two are gonna be best friends for the rest of their lives. Um, but it's like Kang Ji-eun saying to her, it's the quality of love rather than the quantity. Just because you've got two parents doesn't mean you've got double the love. And I'm like, this is
Mm.
because Kang Ji-eun can relate to this so much,
Yes,
right? She
yes.
was raised by her father, and her father never let her lack any love. And
Yeah,
it's the same for Byul. Like, Byul is being raised by a single dad, but it's not like she lacks love in any way, shape, or form. And also,
right.
he has community around him, right? He has
Yes,
the neighbor, which
yes.
I feel like we're gonna have to touch on like
I
this
know.
secondary couple
I
because we
know.
just have to.
We
Um,
have to.
but she had, she has Soo Hyun who helps them out, and like Soo-hyun's mother as well, who helps them out. And I feel like she's growing in a very healthy environment. And it's beautiful to see because we don't see the whole journey, but we do just see where Byul was when she was having her problems. And then, like a year later, and she comes
Yeah.
into the bookstore and she tells the bookstore owner, I don't have to go to the doctor anymore. I'm like, oh my
So
God, this is so
sweet.
wholesome. And like
Adorable.
this guy literally looks at her father, like, really? She doesn't have to go anymore? And he's just like, yeah, and it's like he has. I feel like this show truly shows it takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
And it
Absolutely.
takes that. And, it doesn't matter that your village is not that big. And it doesn't matter that sometimes your village isn't a mum and a dad and, your direct family, because we never see any of like direct family
Right.
for Yoon Ho. We don't see his parents.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see like we don't see any of that.
Right.
Actually, I wish that was like a little bit more maybe I missed it because I'm like,
I
why is their
yeah,
family not
it's
around?
it seems like it's insinuated that he was kind of like neglected as a child. Because remember
Mm,
when like whenever they would show flashbacks of him, when he was little, he was like making his own food, like he was making his own
yeah,
lunch, his own dinner, and
yeah,
everything. And even when the
yes,
fire happened, he was in the apartment all by
alone.
himself. So, and
Mm-hmm.
he even told, I remember there's a conversation he had with Ji-yoon, and she was like, "How long have you been like cooking for yourself?" And he was like, "Oh, like 30 years." And she's like, "So you've been taking care of yourself since elementary school?" And he was like,
Yeah.
something like that. So I think he was kind of like neglected as a child.
Mm-hmm. So that would make sense why, those people just wouldn't necessarily be present. But also, I think like that would make sense of why he would work so incredibly hard to offer a different kind of future to Bjol.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. So I loved Bjol. I really did. So
Such a
shall we
cutie.
touch on our secondary couple? Because I feel like
Yes.
I loved them actually.
Oh my gosh,
I
I loved them too. And I didn't expect to
I
love them as
Me
much as I
too. Me
did. Like, because in
too.
the beginning, I was like, I wasn't even really sure. It wasn't on my radar really in the beginning because I was like, okay,
Yes.
Soohyun obviously has a crush on Eunho, or maybe she
Mm-hmm.
thinks she should, or whatever. And then Jonghoon had a
Mm-hmm.
crush on Jiyoon, which should have never even been like a thing. Like, you don't. This will
Yeah,
never
no.
happen. Like this,
No, no, no,
and I don't
no.
even. Yeah, I'm just like, what are you doing? But like, so them even getting together, I was surprised that like the show went that route because I didn't really see that
Mhm.
coming. And then like I by the end I was like, oh, like they were making me
There's
swoon, and I was like, y'all
yeah,
are
yeah,
so
yeah.
cute. I like
Yeah, yeah.
y'all.
Yeah, I really like them. Did you see Sohyun's story coming that she wasn't actually the bio mum for that she was his aunt? And I'm like,
Girl, I was
what?
shocked. I did not see that coming at all. Like when they went to
Either.
the I don't want to call it, what is it called? The place where they
It's
go,
not
the memorial.
cemetery.
The
Yeah,
so yeah,
Memorial Hall.
yeah,
Yeah.
the memorial hall. And I was like, she was like, sister, da, da, da. And I was like, excuse me? I was
Yeah.
so shocked. I was so shocked.
And I'm like, but I think that added so much depth and so much layering to her
Absolutely.
as a character because I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh my gosh, to be that dedicated
Mm-hmm.
um to a person to be like, I am going because she could have left the kid to like the grandma for the grandma to
Right.
raise, right?
Yeah.
And she could have been like, I'm your aunt, but no, she was like, I'm going to be his mom. So, and, but I also appreciated the fact that she's like, I'm going to be his mom just until he's older, and then I'll explain everything
Yeah.
to him rather than
Yeah.
him like growing up without a mother and, you know, and I know some people are going to disagree with that
Mm-hmm.
point of view because I think some people are going to be like, why is she trying to fill the mother's shoes? It's a bit deceptive. Why couldn't they? But it's like, how do you explain to a 2-year-old kid? Like, how do you
Yeah.
explain that to a baby? Um,
Yeah.
so
I
I
think
can,
waiting to tell him when he can understand made sense.
mhm, mhm. And for all intents and purposes, that is his mom. Like, that
Yeah, that's
is
still his
his
mom to
mom.
him.
Yeah.
The scene when she told him, I was also in tears. Um
Mm,
it was she yeah, she told him like the truth, and she's like, oh, like you had, two parents, a mom and a dad, you look just like them, but there was an accident. And he was just like, so does that mean I have two moms? And she was like,
yeah.
yes. And then he was like, mom, thank you for raising me. Tears.
Yeah,
I
I was
was like,
crying. I was crying. See, because I think that moment truly shows, it truly shows that they did the right thing by waiting because he
yes,
understood it,
he
right? And
understood.
he's not going to be like, well, you're my aunt from now on. No, that's his mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's raising him. And I think
Exactly.
some people sometimes forget that a mom and a dad doesn't just necessarily mean you share DNA. It's the people that raise you.
Exactly. The people that raise
Um,
you, exactly.
Except, so I was raised by a stepdad, and like to me, that's my dad. Like he raised
Yeah.
me. And I think that's, DNA sometimes is just DNA at the end of the
Yeah. Yeah.
day.
Sometimes that's how it is.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I love that whole storyline. I feel like it was such a beautiful thing. And she truly did love him as her child. Like she
Yeah.
gave up a lot of things to be his mom. So I
Yeah.
I loved the story. I did.
I loved it so
I
much. It
wish we
was
could
very
have
sweet.
a spin-off of like the secondary couple because we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
really get to see them like get together or anything like that. We know
Yeah.
they're on the road to that. It's obvious, but we
Yes.
don't really get to see it. Just so I was a little bit sad.
Yes. I'd love a little 2 episode spin-off to see like what happened after they went
Yes.
to the fortune teller because like that's like when they like just started. Like they were like,
Yeah.
okay. Like but yeah.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
love the
And like
scene after
now I was just gonna say, and like how they would like fit Jong Han into like their life and the kid's
Yes.
life and I just want to see
Yes.
that.
No, I really enjoyed them. Like whatever scene with Soohyun and Jong Hoon, I enjoyed. Like right after she told Sojun the truth, like remember the scene when she met Jong Hoon at the park and like she was
Hmm.
like swinging and she just looked up to the sky and she was like, "Oni, am I doing a good job?" Because she was like
Yeah,
crying and he was just like
yeah,
there comforting her and I was like,
yeah. Oh my God.
"Oh,
It's so sweet. It's
so
so sweet
sweet."
because it must be incredibly hard for her to be like, am I doing I mean, I think any mother like I'm not a mom. Like I am not a
Yeah.
mom. But I think like often mums say this, that they question themselves and they're like, am I doing this
Yeah.
right? Am I doing a good
Yeah.
enough job? I mean, you're raising a human being. It must be the most
Yes.
difficult job
Hardest
you'll
job.
ever get.
Yeah.
So for her to be like asking her sister, like, am I doing good enough? Like, am
Yeah.
I raising your kid well enough? And I'm just like, I really liked her character. I liked
Me
his
too.
character, and I liked how they fit together so well. They got together
Yes.
because they had crushes that were unrequited, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is great. And then like throughout the show, they just kind of like sprinkled in. I will say, I wish they would develop their relationship just a little bit more throughout the
Mm-hmm.
show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even saying that, I get it. It's not their show, so
Yeah. Yeah.
they're secondary characters. But I feel like I wish we could have seen them a little bit more, or maybe like even if Jong Hoon basically gave up on Kang Ji-yoon much earlier on and was like, okay, we
Yes.
can. I think that would have worked a little bit
Yes.
better.
I agree. He should have given up on her way earlier than he did because I'm like, you have no chance. Like she does not
No
look at you like that
chance.
at all. Like
And
it's
she
actually
says
kind of
it to
sad.
him.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like,
She's very clear. I think it's like episode 5 or episode 6.
yeah.
She's very clear in her
Yeah.
intention. She's like, he's about to confess to her. And she's like, no, 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 no. We're
Right.
friends. Do not jeopardize this by saying what you're about to say. She like
No.
tells him straight up. And I actually love that about her character, how straightforward
Same.
she is. Because she's like, she just
Same.
goes up to Eun Ho and she's like, I like you. That's my problem to deal
Yes.
with, but I like you.
Yes. Yes. And even that
And
was
she
just so
goes,
refreshing.
exactly. And she goes up. But the thing is, she's not implicating and saying, you have to respond to me. No, she's just like,
Exactly.
I like you. I need to tell you. I'm good now. I'll deal with it. Okay, bye.
Yes.
That's
Bye-bye.
exactly. And she does the same with Jung Hoon, where she's like, she's very refreshing. She's like, we're friends. That is all this is ever going to be. She's
Yeah.
very clear in her intentions. So I
Yep.
wish he would be like giving up a bit. I wish that conversation would happen like a couple of episodes earlier, and then he
Yeah.
could move on, a bit quicker, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Because I'm just like, it's
Um,
not gonna happen. It was never gonna
no.
happen.
No, no. So I think that would be like one of my very, very nitpicks. Yeah. I loved
Yeah.
the little found family in the office and how they all came together,
Yes.
like working in the bookshop.
I
Speaking of
loved that
which,
so much.
the bookshop couple. I really liked
Adored
the
them.
bookshop couple. I
They were
I
so
loved them.
sweet.
So sweet.
And I love how they were
It's
both like voices of reason and wisdom for like,
yes,
yeah, so like
yes.
the husband was like a voice of reason and kind of like a sounding board for Eunho and she was that for Jiyoon. They were so cute and I love how they were just like they would leave the bookshop and they would be holding hands. They were just
Yeah,
adorable. They were so
they
cute.
are. they are the perfect definition of a stable relationship,
Yes,
like
they were
a
so
stable,
stable.
loving relationship.
Yes,
And I
yes.
feel they felt very real, right?
Yes, it felt very
Even
real. Yeah.
yeah, even when they started talking about having babies and all of this, and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't ready, so he was like, "That's okay. I mean,
Yes.
we'll wait." And I love that by the end, they're like, "We're gonna start." I'm like, "Oh, this is
I
so
know.
adorable."
He got her the book about like, getting pregnant and like older age and I was just like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
y'all. Yeah,
Just stop
they seem like a
it.
very realistic, like healthy couple. They're just like
Mhm,
living their
mhm.
lives, like drama free. They're like holding hands. Like they were so sweet. I loved them.
This drama just does relationships so well, and I think that's
Yes.
overall the best feature about this show. It's relationships.
Yes. Yes.
Even if you take away everything else, because everything else is just added padding, right? The business,
Mm-hmm.
her story, that
Mm-hmm.
not her story, but I mean like her business, the rivalry with the company, that's
Yeah.
like padding to me. The
Right.
core and the heart of this show is the relationships. And it's not just
Absolutely.
even the main couple's relationship, it's like the relationships around them. I
Yeah.
loved that by the end we got to check in on all the characters, and not everybody was in a relationship, and that was fine. Like some
Yes.
people were single and they were living their best lives. Like
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah, the short
I
little
just
check-ins
loved
were
it.
cute at the end. But no,
Mm,
and I just loved also how just like mature the relationships were. There was no
mm.
unnecessary just like miscommunication and like all
No.
this stuff. People just openly said what needed to be said. And I was like,
Mhm.
thank you. Like, let's not
Yeah,
spread this around like three more episodes. And I
yeah.
just really, really appreciated that.
And it's the fact that, like, even within their office, and I'm guessing, like, realistically speaking, I feel like no office in the world is like this because there's always going to be a bitchy person or there's always going to be, somebody like that. There's always somebody like
Yeah.
that in an office setting or, in any workplace. But it's the fact that, like, their core team, everybody knew who everybody else was dating, but nobody was like,
No one
oh,
exposed
okay, we
anybody.
can talk about it. Like when the couple admitted it, they were like, oh, okay,
Yes.
we can
They're
talk
like,
about it now.
yeah,
It's
it's like
great.
we all knew. It
Yeah.
wasn't a secret.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But they're just
Oh my
like
gosh.
they're not in their faces about it. They're not like
Right.
nothing
Being
like that.
nosy
They're
and
very
annoying.
supportive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I loved that aspect. Right. Should we just talk about some favorite scenes and
Yes.
quotes? I have so I've already said about him like leaving his work to go and, be with Bjorl when she needs it. And that's like the
Mm.
setup for episode one. And I think like that was quite an interesting overall arch about like work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like if the parental leave is there to be taken advantage of, right? Or to be used. So I don't understand this office guy being like, I'm gonna be horrible to you now because you made me lose the account. And it's like, dude, do your work. He left you everything done. What do you mean?
Right.
Um, I loved their bickering in the first
Yes.
couple of episodes because
Yes.
she's intent on ignoring him and he's
Yes.
intent on making her notice.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah,
So
that
good.
made for some of now one of my proper favorite first scenes was episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it's when she thanks him for the first time. He does something for her
Yes. That was a
and
turning
she
point.
thanks him for the first time. And that is the turning point when she
Mm-hmm.
actually is like, okay, I can accept this guy as my secretary. And then
Yeah.
they actually end up eating together in that
Yes.
episode. And it's just like,
Yes.
oh my God. And it's the smallest of shifts from her part that it's like you can see it start to move. And I really, really liked that scene. I really did.
Yeah.
And then in the following episode, we have them playing basketball with like the
Oh my gosh,
cherry
I
blossom
love that
petals.
scene. Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
just
Again,
like,
another turning point. I was like, okay, she's fully like, she's
she's in.
falling.
She's in
She's
now.
in.
She's in. And the thing is, it was shot so beautifully. That
Oh my gosh,
scene is just like
yes.
visually stunning to look at
Yes.
because you have like the
Yes.
cherry blossom petals falling and they're just having fun playing basket.
Yes.
I'm like, I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it.
It was
So,
amazing.
what type of scenes have you got in your list, Naz, for those first couple of episodes?
Um, in the first few episodes, oh my gosh, so many. I think we already talked about him like organizing her office and like protecting
Yeah.
her from bumping her head, things like that.
Yes.
Um, I there was a scene when I think this was like episode one or two, and
Hmm.
this was after she like had that fainting spell and like they were like getting on better terms.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
but this is before, no, I'm sorry, this is before the fainting spell. She was sick, but she hadn't fainted yet.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the coworker was like, she really needs to eat something. So like they went out to a restaurant to like try, to eat. And we find out the reason why she got sick was because every year, it was her father's death anniversary, she like gets ill. And so
Hmm.
her and Eunho were at lunch, and she was like, "So why did you take paternity leave instead of working on your career?" And he said, "Beyond needed me. I promised I'd stay by her side, and I kept my promise. I am all that my
Hmm.
daughter has." And I was like, "Oh,
That's gonna hit
oh,
her.
yes, yes." And then so like you could tell like her mind was changing, but then like post fainting, and then like you said in the beginning of episode three when she was like, "Thanks," and she was just like, "I'll explain everything about the way I am one day, but like I just want to say thank you." And like, but it was like
Yeah.
definitely a turning point for them. Um, and also the umbrella scene was like a really
Oh
so
my
I was like,
God, yes.
I eat up an umbrella scene. I don't care how corny it is.
Same.
I
Same.
I love an umbrella scene.
Same. I love an umbrella scene. And the fact that it was his kids of like it was a like it's a throwback and it's like it's with those little things that I say, like how Bjol is still involved even when she
Yes.
isn't. And
Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love that umbrella scene. I'm always a fan of an umbrella scene. Like
Every
I
time
just
it never gets
yeah,
old to me. I can't
yeah.
get enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love an umbrella scene. For sure. Um, Speaking of which, like not the umbrella scene, but like episode 5,
Oh my
I
gosh.
loved when she's like eating not eating, drinking the mint chocolate milk with his daughter. They're
Mm-hmm.
just like casually
Mm-hmm.
sitting and enjoy. And I'm like, this is the fact that these two both enjoy this blooming milk
Yes.
that is so like hit or miss for a lot of people. I'm like, these
Yes.
two, they're gonna get on. And it's the fact that she's going head to head with this, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 year old, and
Yes.
this kid is
Yes.
just giving it to her as much as she's getting. I loved their relationship build
Me
so,
too.
so much.
I
So
loved it.
much.
I loved it how they just met
Yeah.
organically, and it was just
Hmm.
it was like like they were like enemies and they become friends, and it was so funny. It was so cute.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, I also love like episode five. Remember they were supposed to have a group dinner at Eunho's place, and like
Yes.
no one showed up, and
Yeah.
then so like Ji was there, and like he cooked for her. He cooked dinner for
Oh,
her, and like
and then he
this
puts
is
the
like
stamp on her hand. I'm
yes,
like, you
he
did
puts
a
a
good
stamp.
job.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh. And
God.
that's like when he shared like he's been taking care of himself since he was a kid, and he was like, I turned out well, and then he stamped her hand. It was like, you turned out well too. And I was like, ah, but then like it was so funny because she fell asleep at his house, and then it was chaotic in the
They're
morning
running.
because the kids were like at a
We're
camping trip or they were
coming
coming
back.
back home that morning, and it was chaos. But
Yeah,
it
that's
was so good.
hilarious. Hilarious. I really liked that as well. I will say I think some people might find that I don't know, to me it doesn't come across that way, but I
Hmm.
think some people may comment on the fact that they possibly like he almost possibly like babies her a bit much, like treats her in, do you know what I mean? Like he would treat
Mm-hmm.
his daughter a little bit like the
Mm-hmm.
way he takes care of her. But
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's necessarily the case. That doesn't come across to me personally. I think
Not
he's
how I
just a
perceived it
caring
either.
guy.
I think he's just
So,
caring and
yeah,
he knows that she's like she has issues and like he just
yeah,
wants her to feel safe and like protected. Like, yeah, he's just really
yeah.
nice.
I think also from like episode 6, that like the ending of episode 6 of like them finding each other in that crowd, and like while she's
Yes.
waiting for him for to go like to the music recital,
Oh,
and I'm like,
yes.
loved that
Like
scene because
it's
it's just like they lock eyes from like across
yes.
this crowd, and it's beautiful because it's like everything slows down for them, and it's just the two of
Yes.
them, and it's like that is what it feels like when you're in love. Like
Mm,
that is everything else kind of drops away. And it's just like I loved how the because they don't say that much in that scene, but it's like visually
right.
the directing is talking for them, right? Because it's like
Absolutely.
I loved it. I loved it. I
Me
did. I
too.
really did.
And even like him inviting her to the recital, I was screaming. I was like, ah, it's starting. It's starting.
They're so cute. They're so
So
freaking
cute.
cute together. Oh, yeah, yeah. No notes. 10 out of 10. No, no. I'm just like, this is like, it's so obvious that they're courting each other. It's obvious to
Yes.
everybody else, but then it's
But them,
like,
exactly. Because at
yeah,
that point it's just like, oh, I don't know what we're doing, but it's not dating. And it's like, oh, well, that's what you think. But both of y'all have caught feelings. So
you guys are dating. Like, you guys are obviously dating, but we'll let you keep your silly little ideas that you aren't for the time being. They're in denial at that stage. They were definitely in
they were
denial
in
for that.
like deep, deep, deep denial about what was going on.
um, yeah. So episode 7 for me, I have down like when she's very clear, and we talked about this. She's like, "I
Yeah.
like you," but that's
Yeah.
my problem to deal with. Like, we've already said, so I had that on.
Yeah. Conversation over.
Yeah, conversation over. We're done, and then that goes into episode 8 where they finally get together. They're just sneaking around. It's like the thing is, they think they're being so sneaky, and
Yeah.
everybody else is just like they're constantly looking at each other, and like she's
Yeah.
dressing up. It's like it's obvious that
Everyone
they're
peeps
like,
it. They're like, it's not a secret. We know what's going on.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. I loved
oh,
how like before they got together, like Unho was talking to the bookstore friend and his friend saying, "You don't have to pretend everything is fine. You don't have to be perfect with me. Try being
mm,
vulnerable for once." And he told him, "I found someone who I care about, but I shouldn't let myself because of Biol." And he said, "It's okay to be honest with your feelings for once. Don't lose her while you worry and regret it later. Be
mhm.
brave." And like, girl, this episode, like 7 and 8, I was dying because of like the tension. Do you remember the scene when they were both working late in the office? The office is like dark and they're like they were literally staring at each other. And like
Yeah,
he like gets up and I'm like, "What are you about to do?" And then his phone rings and I was like,
I'm at this phone.
it's so intense. But then later, like when they like found each other and like they ran and like they kissed in the street, and I was like, this
Like,
this is what K-drama dreams are made of. This is why
yes,
I watch
yes,
these. And I love the conversation they had after they kissed. She said, "I'm used to being alone. I thought solitude was a luxury, but I guess I missed the feeling of warmth. The day I returned from your house, my home felt cold for the first time. I
mm,
was so used to it, I didn't realize it was cold. The things that were natural before I met you don't feel natural anymore." And he said, "I never
mhm.
imagined I could like someone again. My child filled my world and I didn't think there was room for anyone else." And then she said, "Let's not make this complicated. Let's just like each other." And he said, "I'll be good to you. I like you a
Oh,
lot." And I was like,
it's
oh
so
my
adorable.
gosh.
It's so
Oh my
adorable. And the
gosh.
thing is, she picks up on something that is very intentionally done in the
Yes.
drama where her house, we only see her house in darkness and at night,
Yes.
right? We don't
Yes.
really ever see her house. But whenever we go to Yonahouse house, even if it's at night, the house is so well lit. It's bright and it's
Mm-hmm.
fun and it's
Mm-hmm.
inviting and it's warm and cozy. It's a home. hers is a house, his is a home.
Yes,
And I think they
absolutely.
make that distinction so well. And actually, that's a favorite scene of mine later on, like towards the ending, when we start to see. So before it was just like either pictures of Bjol or, Bjol and him. And then it's like
Yes.
Bjol and her and like him and her
Yes.
and Bjol. And in like, oh my
Yes.
God, it's adorable.
It's
Um,
so sweet.
I will say that is also one of the things I really, really wanted to see more of, like them three as a family towards the
Yes.
end.
Yes.
That
Same.
is
I would have
something
loved
that I
that.
really wanted. I was like, take some of the business out, like resolve that quicker
Yeah.
and give me some more of them, like as a threesome going like on
Yes.
little
Like a
family
day
dates.
trip or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would have loved that
Yes.
too.
Yes. So like I think we already talked about this one. I don't know why. All I have for episode 9, well, I have more notes, but I like condensed them down.
Yeah.
One of the notes that I have for episode 9 is their kissing session
Yeah.
because that was really well done.
Yes.
Like
It
the
was really good.
tension, I loved it. Loved it.
Yes. It was really good.
Especially
They had great
because then
chemistry.
they have really good chemistry,
Yeah.
especially because then, well, obviously, episode 10, we go into like the opening scene where he's telling her about, her
Yes.
father and whatnot.
Yes.
So I feel like it's such a juxtaposition, episode 9 to episode 10, like where they were,
Absolutely.
and then where they are in episode 10. And then by episode 11, they're like, together and they're
Yes.
supporting each other. It was done
Yes.
very like in a couple of episodes, but it was done so
Yeah.
incredibly well.
Absolutely. They did such a great job because like in
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of other shows they do that in a way that's like whiplash, like what? And
Yes.
then but like they even though it was like a quick turnaround, they did it so well. And I think it's because like kind of what we were talking about earlier, like him, dropping that bombshell, like it wasn't like a make it or break it situation. Like it was something that they were willing to work through. They just needed
Mm-hmm.
some time to heal and process. So, I feel like that helped that transition too, because they were still in it
Yeah.
together.
Mm-hmm. So one of my all-time favorite scenes is not between our main couple. It's like I said, I've already said it and I've made it clear. I love Kang Ji-eun and Byul scenes, and this is one
Yes.
of my favorite ones. And it's episode 11. And so she's having all of that trouble with her company, and she's really
Yeah.
upset. So she can't be at her apartment because lots of people are going to her apartment. So Yunho takes her to his apartment and Byul is
Yes.
there and Byul takes care of her and Byul puts her to sleep and like she
Oh my
sleeps in her bed
gosh.
and she holds her hand like while
Yes.
she's sleeping and I'm like I actually loved the fact that this scene was between her and Byul and not between
Yes.
Eunho and her because it felt
Yes.
so much more special that it was between the two
Absolutely.
of them, right? It's a different
Yes.
kind of comfort that she's going to
Mm-hmm.
get from Byul than she is from Eunho. And even her
Yes.
words of encouragement that, Byul was saying, you're going to get through this and all of this. And I'm like, my God, she's such a little adorable bean. And
Oh my
I
gosh.
loved the fact because they could have, honestly speaking, they could have had that scene take Bjorl out and put like Unho in, but I
Right.
feel like it wouldn't hit as much for me. I
Oh
mean, I'd
yeah,
still be
no.
swooning like crazy, but
Yeah.
I felt like in that moment that no judgment, nothing. It's like Bjorl is a kid. She doesn't even know what's happening, but she's just like unconditionally there for this grown up. And I'm like,
Yes.
I love it. Love it.
Oh, that was one of my all-time favorite scenes too in the show.
Oh,
I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is just it was just so precious." And it was
hmm
like again, I think it was just so impactful that because like, the her really being a part of their family and like, kind of it was just as like be all like accepting her like into her room and like comforting her just so sweet. So so sweet. Oh, I love that
you
scene so
know
much.
this
I was tearing
kid
up there too.
this kid is gonna slay adulthood. She's so like
Yes.
emotionally stable and so
Yes.
like, you know, emotionally adept. She's gonna absolutely just slay being an adult.
Yes.
This is gonna
Yes.
be a healthy adult.
Yes. I love her so much. They're
Oh,
so sweet. So
she
sweet.
truly is. She truly is. She truly is. Right. Should we just talk about the ending and wrap this up?
Yes.
Um, so I loved the ending. Like, well, I
Yes.
will say the only thing they could have done to make it better is cut a little bit of like the business stuff
Mm-hmm.
out. Cause I was like,
Mm-hmm.
we were seeing this was gonna come. I love the fact that she takes a break. She's like, I'm gonna sleep in and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
not do anything. Cause she's been working nonstop for 5 years. And then when she
Yes.
comes back, she's like, I'm gonna start. And I love the fact that she comes back and she's like, is gonna be my first client. And
Yes.
I don't, it's not that she doesn't want him working for her, it's the fact that she knows he has much more to give.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I really loved that aspect of it. I loved that we got to check in on everybody and
Yes.
how everybody was doing, and that precious that Bjol got to name their company, like her new
Yes.
company. I
Oh
was
my
just like, oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Tears. I was like, I can't. I can't.
And the fact that she names it we, I'm like, I
Oh, I can't.
love it, love it. Like I said, the only nitpick towards the end is that I wish there was a little less of the business and a
Yeah.
little more of them like three as a family. Even like they even kind of wrapped up the second male lead with like his father, their kind of
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And I
Mm-hmm.
really
Which was
actually I
nice.
yes, I
I appreciated that.
appreciated it. That I feel like the dad now, we don't see it, but I feel like he's gonna go like on a little bit of a redemption arc a little
Yes.
bit. So I I was happy. I was really, really satisfied with the ending. What about you,
Yeah.
Naz?
Oh, absolutely. I loved the finale. Yeah, I just love she was able to start again, have a new company. All her former colleagues came to work with her too, and yeah, beyond naming the company, it was just the sweetest, the sweetest finale. Like I loved it so much. I think the one nitpick I had is just because I'm being greedy. I would have loved if like, because we flash forward like a year. I would have loved if they like had, were like living together and like were married and stuff like
Yes.
that. Like I would have loved that, but it's like I'm just being greedy because but
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would have been nice, but to just see them living as a family and like
Mm-hmm.
I think that would
Mm-hmm.
have been really, really sweet.
That's what I
But I mean, it's
wanted.
not a serious. Yeah, that's what I wanted. It's just like it's not a dig, but I was just like I would have loved if they were just literally like as a family, like going
Mm-hmm.
walking into
Mm-hmm.
school and like it just yeah. But I was like,
But
let
I
me not
also
be
like
greedy.
yeah, but I also kind of understand why they didn't. I mean, they're slow. They're moving slowly. They're
Yeah, they
building,
have to move slowly. He has a
Yeah,
child.
yeah.
Like there are a lot of different
Exactly.
factors. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. But I was just like,
But I also agree. I also wanted some more. Like, I
yeah.
wanted a little bit more of them just being, a cute family together. I
Yeah.
also, the fact that really seals for me, like her growth as a character is like she doesn't have a separate office anymore. She works with her team. Like
Yes.
her desk is right there. So that was something
Yes.
it's such a small thing, but I feel like it
Yeah.
touches on her as a character growth. I
Yeah.
love this show. Like this
Me
show gave me
too.
such comfort throughout the whole of January and into February. It was
Oh,
such
me
a
too.
beautiful show to watch. I highly, highly recommend. I no regrets about watching it. So
Not at
yeah, have you got
all.
any last things to say about this show, Naz? I mean, we could be here all day. It's just
I
digress.
know. But yeah, like honestly, to echo what you said, I absolutely loved it. I loved the watching experience. I looked forward to it every week.
Mhm.
It just gave me everything I needed. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I feel like it checks all the boxes.
It does. It does. It absolutely does. Right. That is it. That is the review. Naz, thank you so much for coming on. I always love talking, dramas with you. We'll have to get you back on. I'm going to get you to do a C drama
Oh
next.
yes, yes,
We'll
please. Just
have
let me
to
know
get you
which
to
one I
do a
should
C
watch.
Well, try out First Frost.
Yes, I'm gonna watch First
See
Frost. So
what you
that's gonna be
think.
my assignment
And
for
then come
today.
chat to me. Yeah. And then come and chat to me. I'll,
Will
I'll
do.
get I'll be waiting like a voice memo from you over on Instagram. Your
No, I
first
got you. I'm
thoughts
gonna
about
check it
this.
out. I'm very
Please
excited.
do. Please do. Right. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode and we shall catch you next time. Bye.